Sizzling in the skillet, it's hard to see that there's anything out of the ordinary with what's cooking inside. But the path these former shellfish are taking to the palate is different. Because they didn't originate in the ocean, they were pulled from a pond more than 2 hours offshore.
It's been fun. It's been a challenge trying to raise the prawn, but we've been pretty successful.
The prawn popping around in the pan were raised by Johnny Relier on his farm in Greene County.
Everybody says, prawn? What's prawn? Well, it's a freshwater shrimp is what it is.
And it is also a part of North Carolina's growing aquaculture industry. Across the state, growers are raising several different types of aquatic animals, like catfish, trout, and hybrid striped bass, and shellfish like prawn.
Now, switching to open ocean aquaculture.
This aquaculture conference in Atlantic Beach is drawing a full house.
In the last 15 years, the aquaculture industry has grown at about 10% a year worldwide. It's been the fastest growing segment of animal production.
And it's also been expanding steadily in North Carolina. In 2007, it generated nearly $55 million in revenue, according to the Ag Department. But in years of recession and economic decline, researchers say it levels off a bit.
Up until, let's say, this year, we were growing at an annual rate of 5 to 15%. Every year except for the early 90s and just this past year. But the good news is we haven't lost production.
He was interested in fishing.
Among the first folks to take the plunge into aquaculture was Rob Mayo, who's been running Carolina Classics Catfish for more than 20 years.
When we first got in 1986, I believe that the industry has more than tripled in size since that time.
Each year, Carolina Classics supplies about 10 million pounds of catfish to grocery stores and restaurants across the nation. Before the fish come through the company's Aden processing facility, they're raised in dozens of ponds across eastern North Carolina.
It starts from the egg.
The millions of catfish Carolina Classics brings to market are hatched on site, then raised and harvested year-round.
Basically, we're taking a fish that is 5 or 6 inches long and stocking it and growing it out in one season to about 2 pounds. By the time the fish is ready for market, he's about 2 years old.
Rob Mayo started his aquaculture operation from scratch, but most of the folks getting into the industry are seasoned farmers.
Some of them are row crop farmers like tobacco or corn or soybeans, but a large amount of them are animal livestock people. Livestock people know what it takes to grow animals.
Tobacco was once Joe Thompson's livelihood, but he dove into raising shellfish last year.
So I tried to make a transition from tobacco into raising prawns because it's something I'm able to do myself and don't need less labor.
Thompson says his 4 acres of prawn ponds produce about the same profit as 80 acres of tobacco, but he knows he's charting new territory. What did the farmers around you think when you said you weren't going to grow tobacco anymore?
I'm crazy. They foolish. But what it is now, the farmers around there getting into it now already. It's a couple of guys up the road from me. They got 2 ponds built, a couple more down the east part, they're building a couple ponds. One down south of me building a couple ponds. So, like me, I started something.
While many farmers are jumping entirely into aquaculture, a large group are like Steve Sifford, who sees raising tilapia as an addition to raising beef cattle.
It's got a lot of potential, and I'm learning a lot about it, a lot of positives.
But also a potentially high startup cost. Steve estimates building a barn to house his tilapia and other expenses at about $500,000.
Jump into aquaculture totally different, so it is because it's going to take a whole different structure of equipment and technology and stuff like that. So and the whole marketing structure of it. So yes, it's a big jump, and that's why we're trying to do things up front so we make sure that's what we do want to do.
For many farmers, having a hand in a few areas is growing more and more important.
Generally what you're seeing today is, you need to diversify yourself so you can be safe. And, when a row crop or chickens or something might be down, fish might be up.
But there's one thing that's remained about the same, and it's pointing to large growth in the aquaculture industry in years to come.
For the past 2 decades, roughly, the world's supply of fish has been essentially fixed. So the world needs more seafood, demands more seafood, and it's all coming from aquaculture.
The oceans are at sustainable yield. We can't get more seafood from the ocean. Unless people stop eating seafood, then the only way to get more seafood for a growing population is going to be aquaculture.
On this night in Atlantic Beach, Aquaculture is certainly dominating the menu.
We got catfish done about 5 or 6 different ways, some wonderful crawfish, some tilapia. Shrimp is a little bit more of a seafood flavor to it. A prawn's a lot more milder.
Seafood overall continues to be hot. According to research from the World Watch Institute, consumption has tripled since 1950. Aquaculture enthusiasts hope that means a state that's been known for its corn and tobacco will one day be equally famous for its catfish and tilapia.